people. They are the first inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. We welcome you, but I'm not here alone, everyone. I have a special friend here. Let's give a warm wave to our diver.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, diver. What's your name?
I'm Joe. Nice to meet you guys.
All right, this is Diver Joe. And Diver Joe, how does it feel in the habitat today?
Well, it feels nice and balmy. It's about 78 degrees in here.
Wow, 78 degrees. It sounds like they're having a nice tropical vacation. How many of you have taken a trip into some shallow, warm waters before, like you see behind us today? Where did you travel to? The Caribbean. Yes, the Caribbean's very lovely. Who else has traveled somewhere across the seas that looks pretty familiar to here? All right. Well, our diver is in a replicated dive site, a place that our scientists go many, many times throughout the year for research. Take a look on our screen today and tell me if you recognize this place in the world. We call it the Philippines. Now, the Philippines has a lot of biodiversity. Biodiversity means life and the different amounts within that area. So we go to the Philippines. Why, Diver Joe?
Well, we got to study the biodiversity because there's so many different types of species of fish and coral there. It's a great place to collect all types of different species and study them.
That's right, everyone. There is so many different species of fish. Take a look at the screen. You see, in the real Philippines, we have over 3,000 different species. But here in our coral tank, our habitat right behind us, can you take a guess of how many different species we have? Say the number. What do you think? 10 different species, I heard. What's another number that you might guess? 60 different species? You're getting close. Joe, are they close?
They're really close.
Go higher?
A little higher.
Okay, I heard 70 different species. Joe, how many different species of fish do we have in our coral reef habitat?
Yeah, that was really close. We have just about 80.
That's amazing. 80 different species, everyone. Now, Joe, do you have a particular favorite fish around?
I do. My favorite is the unicorn fish, which you could probably see by the unicorn horn coming out of its forehead. There should be a few swimming around, and one fun fact about them is scientists actually don't know why that horn is on their forehead. They've been studying them for a long time, and we haven't figured out why they have that yet. So it's just a funny-looking little fish.
That's fascinating to know. You might see the unicorn fish come out pretty soon when we do our fish feeding.
Right here.
They're all pointing out to you. It's right behind you, Joe. Yes. Oh, how amazing. Yes. Woo! Oh, that was spectacular, everyone. Now, remember we were using that magic word? Let's try it again. What is that word, everyone? Fish. Very good, very good. Now, that is not the only amazing animal in this tank. We have a special animal here that is laying low, low, low on the rocks. It is very colorful. Can anyone guess, is that a plant or is it an animal? It starts with the letter C. What is your guess? An animal, and yes, it is coral. Very well, everyone. We're going to talk about coral next, Joe. On our screen is a colony of polyps. It is an animal. And Joe, can you tell us what's so unique about coral?
Absolutely, yeah. So coral are actually, when you look at one of these big structures here, it's not just one animal. It's hundreds to thousands of individual little tiny animals called polyps, and they all live in one big structure together.
That's right, everyone. These polyps here, if you take a close look, you're going to see them in action. Now, they're closely related to jellyfish and sea anemones. We have a sea anemone right over here, everyone. Imagine if we were to shrink the size, or actually say maximize the size. Well, the coral operates just like that. The little tentacles are bringing the food into their mouth. But is that the only way coral gets their food?
No, they get most of their food through a symbiotic relationship with another type of algae called zooxanthellae. And these zooxanthellae, they photosynthesize. They get most of their food from the sun, just like plants on Earth. Now, the coral and the zooxanthellae, they work together, and the coral get about 90% of their food from the energy produced by these algae from the sun, and the other 10% they get by filter feeding.
That's right. That's fascinating, everyone. How about you repeat after me? This is a new special word. Say zo. Say zo. Say zan. Say thelly. Together it is zooxanthellae. That is the special algae that gives the coral its pop of color. And it is a symbiotic relationship, as you mentioned. Now, these high lights above us, they emit the sun's energy. Through photosynthesis power, our coral is healthy. But that's not the only way that coral sustains itself. What else is an important factor besides the lights?
Well, they get food through the water. They get particulate feeding through water passing through the polyps, and they get small particulate animals and plants that they can absorb.
That's right, everyone. And the temperature, like Joe mentioned in the beginning, is about 78 degrees. That's what coral needs to survive. They need great temperature water, plenty of sunlight, and water that is shallow. But if you look at the screen, we have a photo of a coral that has gone sick. This coral is what we call coral bleaching. It's happening around the world right now, and it's caused by, as we know, our rising temperatures. When we use too much oil, gas, and coal, it traps the air and warms it up like a heat trapping blanket. This changes the temperature of our water, causing the coral to get sick. But you know, everyone, you're here today to learn about some hope. Tell us some reasons and tell us the reason that communities can help us with coral.
So everybody can do their part to stop the heating of the climate, like we were talking about earlier. So when the climate gets too hot, when the weather gets too hot out, the water heats up in the oceans, and when the water heats up, it changes the chemistry. And these coral, they don't like when the water's a little too hot or the chemistry is different from what they're used to. So what they do is they push out those algae that I was talking about earlier, which is their main source of food. And when they push out their main source of food, they bleach, what we saw in that picture, and they start to starve and die. So what we can do as a community is lower our greenhouse gas emissions, which is what's causing the warming of the climate.
That's right, everyone. Now, you are visiting the California Academy of Sciences and may not know that perhaps you work with a company. And if your company has over 50 people, ask about their commuter incentive program. This is a way for you to cut down on your fossil fuel and take public transportation. Also, here at the Academy, we're doing something called Hope for Reefs. Can you tell us a little bit more about Hope for Reefs?
Yeah, Hope for Reefs is an initiative that the California Academy has in a hope to reverse the rapid decline of the coral bleaching in our oceans by the end of the decade.
Yes, everyone. This reef habitat that you're looking at now was facilitated and helped by using a seedling unit where we scrape off a polyp of healthy coral and give it a chance to clone itself and grow further. Now, we have an amazing amount of fish that nearly look ready for their feeding. But just to let you know, we are going to take about 3 or 4 questions to our diver. Does anyone have a question for our diver today? Oh, wait. Fish. Diver, what is your least favorite fish?
My least favorite fish. That's a great question. You know, I don't know what the type of fish was, but just the other day, one of these ones bit me. It was a small black one. I'm sure April could identify it, but it didn't hurt or anything. I think I was just, in his space a little too much. And you got to be careful because I'm in their home right now. So I'm trying to help them out, but I don't think they know that all the time. So they gave me a little nibble on the finger.
Wow, that is an interesting question. Thank you for sharing that bit of story to us. Yes, you are in their habitat and they are investigating you. Let's take another question from the audience. I see a hand up here. You right there. How deep is our habitat?
How deep? Yeah, it's about 25 feet from the surface all the way down to the very furthest bottom that I can touch.
That's amazing. And if you are also curious, this glass right here is 7.5 inches thick, but it's not glass, it's actually acrylic. And it was brought from Colorado on the back of a flatbed truck all the way to San Francisco. We'll take one more question and then we're going to check in with the tender on top and get to feeding the fish. One more question. Oh, yes, right there. Ooh, Joe, are you ever scared of the fish?
Only when they try to bite me.
Only when they try to bite. Well, everyone, let's take a look at our tender on top and give them a nice wave. And let's see if they're just about ready to feed the fish. Tender, are you ready? Because we're going to need your help, audience. We're going to do a wonderful countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get your cameras ready and get ready to be amazed at the wonderful, spectacular biodiversity of these fish here today. Let's see if our tender is ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's get that countdown. Are you ready, audience? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feed those fish. Wow. As we look high, also look low. Take a look at all the fish coming out from their caves. Our tender just performed something called a broadcast feed. A broadcast feed is a place where we could have all the fish come together, spread it out over the water, and you could see all of the different fish come from their various habitats to the surface. Oh, here goes another one. Whoa. Now, our diver and our tender, they do great volunteer work here with us on a daily. And we look forward to having you all return back over the weekend to hear more. But our diver, Joe, is going to stick around after the show today. Right here, you can all come up and make sure that you get a high five from our diver today. So we want to thank you all for being here. And also, we want you to tell the message about coral. If you are interested, check out our planetarium show at 2:15 from our Business Viz studio, created an award-winning show all about coral. So thank you everyone for being here today at the California Academy of Sciences.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
everybody. Pretty easy in here. There's no currents, but it's pretty fun.
Our diver has just mentioned when there's no current, you really can't swim. So there's a lot of pressure in water. Remember, water weighs us humans down. Sharks have the ability to completely cut through and swim clearly fine. But we do have a current happening here in this habitat. So pretty soon our diver will be saying goodbye, but we hope you return again and enjoy the California Academy of Sciences. Goodbye.